What is going on, college basketball fans? Welcome back to another video, and it is feast week. We're back with more tournament predictions. This one for the Bad Boy Mowers Battle for Atlantis Invitational Tournament. We got some good games in this one. We actually just uploaded last night the Maui Gym Maui predictions. That tournament's going on probably right now, the day I upload this video. So if you guys missed that one, you might want to go check out that one as well. But we're also going to come out with we got the Phil Knight Invitational Tournament predictions. We got the Phil Knight Legacy Tournament predictions, the ESPN Invitational, all coming up this week. And then on December 1st, we're going to have our updated college basketball power rankings up on the channel as well. We also do a bunch of other college basketball, college football content here on the channel. You don't want to miss it, so make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Super close to 2,000, so help your boy out, and comment down below who you think is going to win the Battle for Atlantis 2022. I'm ready to let you guys know who I think is. Starting with game one, we got Kansas against NC State. This is an interesting matchup because NC State actually probably not as bad as a lot of us have thought. They are coming into this game undefeated. They got some pretty good guards there. A senior-led team, but their best player is their sophomore, Traquavion Smith. That dude is a bucket getter. He is also a pretty good playmaker, and I could see them causing Kansas some fits in this game. Like I said, they are a senior-led team. They're going to need their seniors to step up big time against these players like Grady Dick, Jalen Wilson especially, who has really come into his own. And as I predicted, and as a lot of people predicted, Jalen Wilson is that next guy, that Ochai Abachi type player, the number one option scoring for this Kansas team. So I'm excited to watch this one, actually. I think NC State actually has a chance to win this one. This is not an easy pick for me, but I think Kansas gets it done. I am going to go with Kansas, but I think it is close. I think, if NC State won this game, I would not, be completely surprised. Like, I definitely think they're going to be able to compete in this one and give Kansas a little bit of a run for their money. Like I said, I like Traquavion Smith. Their seniors are going to have to step up if they want any chance in this one. Jack Clark and Jarkel Joyner. I think it's possible. I think it is possible, but I think the difference for Kansas, I just think Jalen Wilson goes off. I don't know if NC State really has anyone to stop Jalen Wilson. I also like Daquan Harris off the bench there for Kansas. He has been playing really good so far this year. Grady Dick, he doesn't play like a freshman. Grady Dick looks like he's very poised out there, and he really closed out that game against Duke in the Champions Classic. So Kansas, they already played in some big games this year. They already played against Duke. They're ready. NC State, they haven't really played anyone yet this year. I think this will be a good test for them, and they'll play in a close game, but they're gonna have to prove in this tournament that they're actually good and not just beating up on some pretty bad teams. So next up, we got Dayton versus Wisconsin. This one's interesting. So Malachi Smith, the star player there for Dayton, we all expect him to come in and have a big year. He's only played one game so far this year, and he only got like 5 points. So I'm excited to watch Malachi Smith in this tournament. I think he's really going to take off, have some big games where he scores a lot of points, but he's going to need some help. He's going to need Darren Holmes, the big man, to really step it up in this tournament if they're going to want to win, not only against Wisconsin, but down the road they got Kansas if they win this one. So Kobe Elvis as well, I think, is going to have to step up for this Dayton team. Wisconsin, they're kind of lacking the guy. Who is their guy after Johnny Davis left last year? Who is their number one scoring option? It kind of looks like the big man, Tyler Wall, is their guy, and he's been playing pretty good, but they kind of spread the ball around. They don't really have that main go-to scorer. Jordan Davis, which is Johnny Davis's brother, he's in there. He's a starter now. We'll see if he can make some steps up, take some steps up as well. But I'm actually going to go with Dayton to win this one on the back of Malachi Smith. Second game of the year, has a massive game, and pulls this one out in a close one against Wisconsin. I haven't really seen much from this Dayton squad so far this year. They haven't lived up to the hype so far. I think they show it right here against Wisconsin. With Malachi Smith getting back into the rotation, I think not only does that provide a lot of scoring from him, but that helps get the attention away from these other guys like Kobe Elvis and like Darren Holmes down low and get that inside scoring. So I think Dayton wins this one behind a big game from Malachi Smith. So that means Wisconsin's moving here to the losers bracket, and we'll face NC State. Next up, we got USC versus BYU. This one is going to be a great battle between the guards on these two teams. We got Boogie Ellis on one side, who's having a pretty good year so far. Drew Peterson, Reese Dixon Waters. I really like the sophomore Reese Dixon Waters there at USC. I think he is going to really improve throughout this season and be one of their guys. But on the BYU side, you got Rudy Williams, you got Spencer Johnson, you got the big man Trey Orr down low. And I think the big man Trey Orr is the difference in this one. BYU has looked pretty good so far, and I said at the beginning of the season I'm not too high on St. Mary's this year. I'm not too high on San Francisco. I think BYU is going to be the biggest competition there in the West Coast Conference for Gonzaga. Their only loss so far this year is to San Diego State, a very good San Diego State team, so they were kind of tested in that one. And USC, they haven't really showed me too much to where I'm going to pick them for sure over BYU. So this might be considered a slight upset, but give me BYU to defeat USC here in round one. So that means USC is moving down here to the losers bracket. And then we got Tennessee against Butler. Now this one's a little bit more of an easier pick. I'm going to rock with Tennessee, but they have been struggling. It would not surprise me too much, honestly, if Butler was able to pull off an upset in this game. Because Tennessee, their two main guys that I was really excited about this year, I thought was going to be one of the best backcourts in the entire country, with Zakai Ziegler and Vescovi. They both haven't really been playing all that well this year. I think they're going to have to step it up big time in this tournament if they are going to want to go far. There is some good competition and some really good guard play throughout all these teams in the tournament. And if Tennessee does not step it up and get it together, I mean, they will lose. And they could lose to this Butler team. I really like Chuck Harris and Jaden Taylor. Butler's a team, they kind of run four guards and then a big man, and they can run on this team and put up a lot of points if Tennessee is not careful. They're going to have to play good defense. I think that is key, and they're going to need Zakai Ziegler and Vescovi to turn up, because they did, beat Gonzaga in a charity game, exhibition game before the season started. But ever since then, they got a loss to Colorado. They haven't really, those two players specifically haven't really showed me the potential that, I was wanting to see from them at the beginning of the year. I thought that they might be one of the best backcourts in the nation. They need to show it to me right here in this game and throughout this tournament. All right, so we'll do the winner's side first, just like we did in the Maui Jim Maui, and then we'll go back and do the losers bracket. So Kansas against Dayton. This one's actually kind of an interesting matchup because Kansas, national champions last year, they have some returning players, but a different team, right? They got a few returning players, but a different team from that national championship team. But Dayton, last year in the regular season, they beat Kansas. It was at home in Dayton, and it was on a buzzer beater, but they did beat Kansas, and I think that this could be a really fun game. I don't think Dayton's going to beat Kansas again. I don't know if Dayton has anyone who's really going to be able to slow down Jalen Wilson. I could see Jalen Wilson putting up 25, 30 points in this game here. If Dayton wants a chance in this one, they're going to have to find a way to clamp up Jalen Wilson, and Malachi Smith also is going to have to go off on the offensive end. I just don't see them really slowing down Jalen Wilson in this one. And then you got the good guard play with Grady Dick and Daquan Harris and Kevin McCullough. I think Kansas is going to be too much for Dayton here in this one, so they move on. So then we have BYU against Tennessee. Another good test for Tennessee that they're going to need their guys to really step up because BYU has a good big man, and I could definitely see BYU winning this game. I was this close to pulling the trigger on this upset, but I'm actually not going to do it. I'm going to go with Tennessee here to win this one again and defeat BYU, but I was this close to pulling the trigger on that upset. I could definitely see Tennessee getting upset at some point throughout this tournament, but I'm trusting that their 2-star guards actually show us what we were expecting at the beginning of the season and turn up in this tournament where they are going to need them the most. This is going to be a really good test for Tennessee. This is why I love these tournaments, though, because at the beginning of the year, it really can show where a lot of these teams are, what they need to improve at, what they're good at, because they're actually going against their first real competition, you know. So we have our championship matchup between Kansas and Tennessee. And you know, if their guards get heated up, I could definitely see this being a close game. I could see Tennessee winning it, but I just think Kansas is going to be too much once again. I don't see anyone slowing down Jalen Wilson on these teams. Give me Kansas, man. I'm going to take Kansas to win and give me Tennessee to be my second place runner-up in the battle for Atlantis. And then we have our third place game. Winner gets third place between BYU and between Dayton. So who will I have win this one? This would be a pretty good game. I think, you know, Malachi Smith could have a big game in this one, and they're going to need it. I could also see Holmes having a big game, Darren Holmes for Dayton, putting in some work, but BYU does have a good big man. I'm actually going to go... I'm going to go with Dayton. I'm going to go with Dayton to win this one. They're probably going to be favored in this one for sure. And then BYU is going to be my fourth place team in this tournament. So now, let's go here to the losers bracket. We got NC State against Wisconsin. And I'm not sure if this is going to be considered an upset. It might not after... I think NC State plays a pretty close game against Kansas, but I'm going to go with NC State to defeat Wisconsin here in this one. I think NC State could get it done. I think if they weren't playing Kansas in the first round, they could have definitely won their first round matchup against a lot of these teams. But NC State, they're going to have to show me something here. You know, they are undefeated 4-0. I want to see something from them throughout this tournament that they're good. And beating Wisconsin in the losers bracket would definitely show me that. And if they play Kansas kind of close, they might be a tournament team this year. I'm excited about this NC State team, so don't let me down. I'm kind of getting into the hype. They're a senior-led team, but their best player is a sophomore in Traquavian Smith. I think he has a big game against Wisconsin, and they defeat the Badgers here in this one. Then we have USC versus Butler, and man, this is a tough one to pick because both have pretty good guards. This is actually a really tough game to pick between. I'm going to go with USC to win this one, though I think they have just enough to be able to defeat Butler here in this one. Then we have our battle for fifth place. We have NC State against USC, and again, I'm going to trust this NC State team. I think they might be a tournament team this year, and I'm going to take NC State to defeat USC and claim fifth place in the battle for Atlantis, and that means USC will get sixth place here in this one, and that means that Wisconsin and Butler will play for to not get last place here in this one. And tough because both these teams I think could be pretty good this year, and I don't really want one of them to just go 0-4 throughout this tournament, or 0-3 throughout this tournament. But somebody's got to go 0-3, and at this point I'm going to go with Butler going 0-3, and it's tough because I don't really want to do that. They have some good players, and I think they play in some close games. I think they play it close against USC. I think they play it close against Wisconsin here, but it sucks they're going to have to go, that I'm predicting them to go 0-3 throughout this tournament, because I do think they have some good players, but somebody's got to go 0-3, and I'm going to pick Wisconsin to beat them and get 7th place, and Butler finishes last in the Battle for Atlantis. So that is going to do it for the Bad Boy Mowers Battle for Atlantis 2022 tournament predictions. Let me know who you think is going to win the championship for this tournament, and make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe, because we're going to have other tournaments. The ESPN Invitational coming out here tomorrow. We got the Phil Knight Legacy Tournament, the Phil Knight Invitational, all coming out this week. And then at the beginning of December, we're going to have our updated college basketball power rankings out then. So a lot of good stuff coming. Hit that subscribe button. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm out.